Alright, what up everybody? For those that are new, welcome to the channel. I'm PJ, and for those that are returning, welcome back. We got some more Madden Online head-to-head this week, and while I play, I'll basically be sharing a few quick thoughts about that rough loss to the freaking Cleveland Browns for my Packers last week, and also focusing on the upcoming game against Dallas. So, as we get ready to get this one rolling, for online head-to-head so far, I've been 2-0 on the channel, playing a little bit since then. I'm now up to 7-3 on the season, so slightly above my normal 60% winning percentage. And I'm on a little bit of a skid right now, so I've lost like 3 of my last 4. So hopefully I can turn it around as I go into this game against the Ravens here. This is actually the first time I've had a repeat team. First 10 games I've had different teams every time, so yeah, we'll see how this one plays out. But yeah, this Madden 26 so far, I've done better at passing lately, but I've been struggling to get the run going lately, which is totally different than normal. So I've been having to try to do a lot of curls and drag routes, and then get people focused on trying to play the outside, toward the boundaries, and then I can finally start popping some draws and some dives in there. So we'll see how this opponent plays it, but. Yeah, sorry again about the lack of a preview video in week 3. For those that are new, basically what happens is each week before the Packers games, my buddy Zach and I will typically give kind of our armchair thoughts and predictions on the upcoming game. Just as we're playing it, or as we're giving our predictions, I'm usually playing Madden Online. And the normal schedule for that type of stuff is like we'll record on Thursday nights, usually right after the Thursday night football game, or during, depending on how it's going and stuff. And then that gives me time to edit stuff on Friday, and if need be, I can finish it up on Saturdays and stuff. And then from there, I got a little sketchy right then on that throw. But from there, I'll get it uploaded on Saturdays. Occasionally, if there's issues and stuff like that, I'll have it up on Sunday mornings instead. But yeah, last week before the Browns game on that Thursday, I was at work and stuff. We've been dealing with deadlines and everything like that. And unfortunately, on Thursday, I found out that I was going to have to work a Saturday, which normally never happens. That's only the second time I've had to work a Saturday at this job in 9 years. So gotta love deadlines, right? But that kind of threw off the entire order, so even though we could have got possibly a recording done, I had like pretty much no time to actually edit this stuff. So we just kind of scrapped it for this past week. And then to kind of top off the misery after the the Packers lost, I ended up actually hurting my back on top of it too, so basically pulled a back muscle right, kind of into my right leg, which that's from an old weightlifting injury that I've had and stuff in the past. But I've basically been living on a ice pack and tens unit to try to help all that out. And for the first couple of days, when we should have been recording our recap videos that we do, I couldn't even really sit up to do that. So yeah, kind of a rough just week 3 in general right there. But we're here now. Well, I am at least. I'm recording at an awkward time, so Zach wasn't able to be here today. But should have that curl route. There we go. First down there. But yeah, I mean, whenever we get through this game this week on, Sunday Night Football, because of how late it is, we're gonna have to work and stuff. So I'm hoping to get that channel or that video out on the channel by like Tuesday, maybe Wednesday this week. But we should. Providing that I don't have anything else pop up at work, we should have that done. And then, yeah, on top of all that too, Florida State ended up randomly losing on Friday night to Virginia, so it's been a frustrating week, and I know I'm about to get clowned on when I go to the work conference later this week. So, with all that said, it's time to kind of talk about the game against the Browns itself. Oop, made him miss. And, yeah, I mean, going into it, because we couldn't do the preview video ahead of time, I went ahead and put my predictions on social medias last week. And I thought going into it, Green Bay would win like 34-17, and it wasn't because I thought like Green Bay was that much better than Cleveland or something like that. I just thought the defense would perform really well, and it would be kind of a slugfest in the first half, like how Baltimore and Cleveland was the week before. And then that would give Green Bay's defense a little bit of opportunity to maybe force a couple turnovers, and then with the offense, supposedly having Zach Tom and Aaron Banks back, they could take advantage of those opportunities and, be able to pull away during the second half. And pretty much like defensively, fantastic day at the office for the most part, outside of, a couple penalties late. But it was just one of them games where, they pitched a shutout for, almost 56 minutes of the game just to give up the field goal near the end, which, they had a pretty good goal line stand going. And then, unfortunately, the interception put them on a short field where they couldn't hold Cleveland out of the end zone. And eventually a blocked kick led to another field goal for Cleveland. So 13 points on the day allowed, which should win you most games, but unfortunately in this case it didn't. Rashawn Gary continued to look really good with 2 sacks. He had Quay Walker flying around the field. He was up to like 14 tackles at the end of it. Xavier McKinney got on the board with an interception on the day. So, Green Bay is sitting there number 1 in points per game allowed right now. So, that's always a great deal. And that wasn't even getting into Micah Parsons being there and stuff, although he didn't really have as much on the stat line this week. Let's see real quick as I get ready here. Big 3rd and goal. Let's see if I can pop Jacobs if they try to cut off the slants to Reed and Dobbs. Let's run it. Let's go. Plan didn't really work out, but the result was what I wanted, so we'll take it. Yeah, the week 3 loss, though, that mostly stemmed from the offensive problems. And even going into it, I didn't really expect Green Bay to run the ball well after, the Browns went and put Chase Brown at like 43 yards on 21 carries, and then King Henry over here only got, like 23 yards on 11 carries, something stupid low like that. So, my hope for the running game was just basically, hey, if you get one of those opportunities off of the turnovers, maybe let Josh Jacobs get a touchdown run just to, kind of keep his streak going, which unfortunately that didn't happen. But, I was expecting more the passing game to be solid, and that had to do with just kind of the first 2 weeks they faced teams in Detroit and Washington that had pretty decent amounts of man coverage. So Cleveland was another team that likes to play a lot of man, usually about 35 to 40% for all 3 of those teams so far through 3 weeks. So I was hopeful that, after seeing it for a couple weeks, Green Bay would find a way to kind of slow down Myles Garrett and then, kind of go from there. And they did a pretty decent job of, keeping Garrett off the stat sheet, although I think he still got like half a sack. But the issue more stemmed from just everybody else feasting while they were kind of dealing with Myles Garrett. Alright, I gotta stop King Henry on these routes here. Somebody did this to me all the time in Madden 25, and that would make me so angry. I'm gonna do cover 1 hole. I'm gonna try to... Can't even get to Cooper over there, and Brooks and Bullard over here. Slant inside. Let's go. I will take that all day. That was not what I expected to happen, but I will absolutely take it. But yeah, so getting back to it, the offense, Zach Tom goes out on the very first play. Aaron Brooks, quarterback, from years ago. Aaron Banks went down later, and there's just kind of chaos, Garrett got a lot of attention. He stayed off the stat sheet like we were kind of just talking about, but Love ends up taking 5 sacks on the day. Although one of them was just on him. He should have thrown that away like right as we were getting ready to go into the 4th quarter, but it just wasn't pretty. And that's exactly why you got that clip of Walker over there just screaming to Jordan to run. And then even with all of that, Green Bay was up 10-0, and they got Fitzpatrick his first career touchdown. I thought at that moment, like when they were up 10, with how bad Cleveland's offense had been most of the day, that was probably going to be enough to win it. But credit to Cleveland, man, they kept hanging in there fighting. You know, they got the field goal and then the interception, which, you know, I've seen everything about why that happened, the adjustments that Cleveland made, everything like that. Still absolutely annoying that it happened in that end of the field. I wish they would have just ran the ball or something instead, but let's see. Let's go, baby. But, yeah, that ultimately led to Cleveland being able to tie it up at 10, and then, of course, special teams kind of popped out and, you know, blocked field goal to, you know, not only not give you a lead with, you know, 20 seconds to go, but it helped, you know, put Cleveland in pretty short distance to field goal range, and, you know, then Cleveland goes and gets their own field goal to win it instead. So just an absolutely frustrating, you know, depressing kind of game. I joked that, you know, my in-laws are all Browns fans, so luckily they've been pretty cool this week about everything, but I was just like, man, I just want to go walk out in traffic right now when that game ended. Just absolutely dreading, you know, how bad that was going to be for trash talk. And ultimately, like, they didn't really get in on me on that, but my coworkers definitely made fun of me a little bit for it, so that sucks. I had it coming now. I've been talking a lot of trash this year about college and pros. But yeah, it was probably the worst loss feeling-wise I've had since maybe the playoff game a couple years ago against San Fran, where we had the block punt and lost like by a field goal. I have no idea how I did not get in on that. But we'll run this in. Feeling pretty good about this game so far. Up 7 on the 1-yard line. Still got all 3 timeouts here. I'm just going to try to run it again if need be, and then we'll see where we're at on 3rd down if I don't get it. Alright, he just burned his final timeout. I'll take that all day. Run down this clock and then take 1 shot to the end zone, and if I get it, cool. If I don't, still go up 2 scores with the field goal here is kind of what I'm looking at. Alright. So let's see if we can hit mesh here real quick and be alright. I'm going to try to hit Reed or Kraft. I might have Watson right away. I'll glance over that direction. I would have had him. But we get Reed instead, so I'm glad he kept running on the route. We're up 2 scores, you know, right near halftime, so I will take that all day. But yeah, moving on from the Browns game and that disappointment where Green Bay dropped to 2-1. You know, we're heading into Sunday Night Football now against the Dallas Cowboys. You know, AT&T Stadium has been very kind to the Packers, so hopefully that stays that way this week. But all-time, Green Bay's up 22-17 in the series against Dallas, and that's largely due to the recent stretch here. In the last 11 games in the series, Green Bay's 10-1 in it, so that's a welcome sight after the 1990s. When I first started watching football, it was during that era, and first memories I have was like Green Bay always getting knocked out by Dallas. So to see Green Bay now beating Dallas pretty decently is a nice feeling. But going into this one, Green Bay is 6.5-point favorites, I believe, on the last check, and teams are dealing with injuries right now. If I can stop this one. Well, I didn't stop the catch, but I kept him from getting points, so I'll take that. But yeah, going into this one, I mentioned the O-line issues from last week. Zach Tom's out. Aaron Banks is doubtful, so probably not playing. And on top of that, Anthony Belton is injured, and he's going to be out this week. So 3 offensive linemen out for the Packers is not ideal. Luckily, Dallas doesn't have a Myles Garrett on the opposite side, or a Micah Parsons. But they also have, or Green Bay also has Javon Bullard, who's questionable after the concussion from, week 3. So we'll see if he can go. If not, you'll probably see Nate Hobbs slide on the inside, and Carrington Valentine, who got the pick earlier in this game, playing more on the outside as well. And, on Dallas' side of the injury front, obviously the big loss to CeeDee Lamb, who had the high ankle sprain this week. But Tyler Booker, their rookie guard, also had a high ankle sprain. He's out this week, and they still have Cooper Beebe on the IR as well. So that's going to be out. So they're not exactly healthy either right now. And then they do get Bland back this week, so that'll help out the defense a little bit. But we'll see how it all goes. In Green Bay's offense. That offense line question is kind of the main holdup for me, this week. So we mentioned the man coverages from, the first 3 opponents so far. Dallas is not like that. They are almost exclusively zone. I think when fantasy points post their zone versus man coverage each week, Dallas has been at like 97% zone so far this season. And then when I was looking on Cowboys Wire through USA Today, which was referencing the NFL Pro Insights, I was like, how am I not tackling this man? They're basically rushing like 4 on like 80% of their dropbacks so far, and not really getting home with any pressure on it. They've been up to like less than 30% pressure rates, these first 3 weeks, only like 4 sacks and stuff. That's probably why they got Clowney, honestly, because he's set to make his debut this week as well for Dallas. But historically, this has been a good matchup against Eberflus. Matt LaFleur's quarterbacks have been like 11 touchdowns to 1 pick in like 5 matchups so far against them. So I don't expect the run game to be super great, maybe better than last week, but Dallas has actually been solid outside of week 1 against the run. But Josh Jacobs, unfortunately, really hasn't gotten a whole lot of help, so that's why he's at like 3 yards per carry so far this season. And, the biggest draw is Dallas is struggling against, the passing attack. When I pulled up the stats from bloggingtheboys.com, they're giving up 9 yards per pass against zone, which is the 2nd worst in the league. And while Love has been carving up the zone, he's at like 417 yards on 76% completion percentage. So like this feels like a matchup that Green Bay can exploit pretty decently if Love has the time. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping the run game is enough to buy Love time and doesn't let Dallas just kind of pin their ears back. But they just made Russell Wilson, look like a superstar MVP type of candidate, and then he's benched for Dart like 2 weeks later. So we will see if Green Bay can do well there. On defense, obviously the big headline is Parsons returning to face his old team, after the trade a month ago. He's been as advertised in Green Bay. Like, you keep hearing us praise him each week. PFF has him at like top 6 for pass rush grades this year. He's on a pass rate winning percentage of like 27% from what the stat was showing earlier. 15 pressures, 4 quarterback hits, 2 sacks already, and I'm excited to see how he handles a pretty emotional game here. Damn, I was hoping to get that one. But, for Dallas, I'm expecting them to basically kind of keep doing their bootleg offense a little bit. They seem to do a lot of bootlegs to Ferguson, their tight end. He's been their leading receiver so far at like 27 catches, more than CeeDee Lamb, who was at like 16. So there's probably going to be a lot more focus now as a security blanket for that. George Pickens should see probably some more targets, I would assume. The other big person over there right now, it's been kind of a surprise, is Javonte Williams at running back. Good play. Really good play, damn it. If I knew I was going to give up a touchdown right after the punt, I would just went for it on 4th down, save everybody some trouble. I swear, so many people will freaking do 2-point conversions with the Ravens. It's like the only team that I see all these 2-point conversions on. It's usually a draw play to Lamar as well. Let's see if that happens here. Wasn't, but it was a handoff and they got stopped, so if I give up another touchdown, they can't take the lead on me. I have an 8-point lead, so best they can do is tie. Onside kick. Ooh. But yeah, I started to say with Javonte Williams. Sorry, I kind of got distracted there on the giving up, big touchdown. Yeah, he's up to like 227 yards and 3 touchdowns so far and like 5 yards a carry. It's been impressive for him because, like, I know he's been getting a lot of yards after contact. You usually see that on the list with Josh Jacobs when they were showing how bad the offensive line been. He's been getting quite a bit of his yardage on, after first contact as well. So, but Green Bay's been, pretty much, really well against the run so far this season. If they can stop him and take away that threat and leave it to try to make Ferguson and Pickens, beat him, I like Green Bay's odds a lot. Special teams wise, please just have a clean game. Like that's all I'm asking for. Yeah, they did pretty well back in week 1. Outside of they did have like one return get wiped out right at the start for Williams because of like a holding or something like that. But against Washington, Deebo Samuel had that huge return on him. Last week, and they also missed the field goal against Washington. Last week, obviously the blocked field goal against Cleveland doomed them there, and Cleveland was able to go get their own game winner instead. So I'm just hoping for something clean this week. Let's see if I can. All right, so this is a rough little spot. Don't really want to put him right near midfield right here at 3 minutes to go, and it's 4th and long. Let's go ahead and punt it. I wanted to go for that. Too far. That's a touchback. But yeah, I'll give some predictions right now. A scoring prediction and an offense and defense prediction. So, score-wise, I think Green Bay takes this one 27-17 to go into the bye week up or at a 3-1 record. It just feels like one of those games that's going to be sloppy because both teams are banged up right now. So, I think it'll be a struggle and a little bit sloppy at times, but I still think Green Bay will control this game, decently. Defensively, I'm going to say both Parsons and Gary get sacks as the defense gets 4 total sacks on the day. So I think they'll be able to take advantage of, the let's go, we got a victory. I think they'll be able to take advantage of Dallas's banged up O-line a little bit. And then offensively, I'm going to say Matthew Golden gets a touchdown for the first time as he returns to his home state. Zach also had sent in his prediction. He called 24-17 Packers. Pretty similar points. We talked separately of, each other's points, but he sent in offense will get their points, but because of the O-line being dead, down 2 starters plus Belton, most likely, he thinks that there's going to be enough opportunities that Dallas will get on the field and eventually score some points. So pretty similar scorelines, but we both think Green Bay is going to win. And then also a quick shout out to, the 128 player Hall of Fame modern era nomination list got put out there. And there's 12 former Packers on it, but 6 in particular that played most of their career with Green Bay. Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, Nick Collins, Clay Matthews, Josh Sitton, and AJ Hawk. So shout out to all of them. And let me pull this up real quick. Show the record to show I'm not BSing. It says 7-3. It hasn't updated the new score yet. Let's do that. There we go, 8-3. So yeah, if you enjoyed all this, feel free to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, because I do shorts and stuff as well with Madden videos, along with some Fortnite and stuff that I need to get back on some clips here. I've got a huge backlog going. NASCAR Heat 5, obviously, is the other main series that I got going on. But let me know your thoughts on the game coming up. and put those down in the comments and stuff. And we will catch you on the recap video, like I said, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. So in the meantime, take care and go Pack Go.